Good morning, students. Today, apart from good morning, I will wish you happy Diwali as well as happy Children's Day. Today is a very special day because the Children's Day, that means the birth anniversary of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our loving Chachaji, and Diwali, both are celebrated together. So isn't it not a very special day today? Today is the day in which we realize the importance of loving children, because Jawaharlal Nehru was the leader who dreamt of modern India, and he believed that the foundation of modern India lies on the attitude of the children. If children will be loved and they will be respected, then they will become respected citizens of the future, and in future they will learn to give respect to others. That is why, in spite he was a great leader and a very powerful person, and maybe the richest person of the country at that time, he used to treat children with lots of love. He had lots of authority, but he never used authoritative attitude towards children. There are many stories about Jawaharlal Nehru which you might have come across, but his love towards children was a side story, a story which cannot be forgotten. So there are many stories related to his love towards children. The reason why he was having a rose in his pocket. So now let me give you a brief information about what he was and what are the different works he had done. Jawaharlal Nehru was son of Motilal Nehru, and he was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi a lot. As his father Motilal Nehru believed in higher education and quality education, that is why at that time when it was colonial era, he was sent to the toppest schools and the toppest universities of that time. He did his schooling from Harrow School, and he did his college from Trinity College, London. Now this Trinity College in London, as a student of CBSE, should not be a new word for you, because the ASL assessment of English is done in CBSE in collaboration with Trinity University. So that is how this Trinity University has a link with our Indian education system even today. He did his law from Cambridge University, and then after doing his law he returned to India in the year 1912. And when he returned in India, he found that freedom movement was going on. At that time he joined Gandhian movement in the year 1919, and in the year 1919 country was fighting against Rowlatt Act. And in the same sequence, in the Advent years, there were various movements which were led by Mahatma Gandhi and was followed by Jawaharlal Nehru. Those were civil disobedience movement. Civil disobedience movement is a movement or a revolutionary movement in which it was explained that the rule which is made by an authority to rule upon or to divide the country should not be followed, and it can be disobeyed in a very civilized manner. So when you disobey the unruly rules, the rules which only has a base of authority but no rationale, may be disobeyed. So that was the philosophy behind civil disobedience movement. This was an idea of Mahatma Gandhi, who was a lawyer, as well as Jawaharlal Nehru, who was also a lawyer. So we can imagine what kind of brain they had, that they coined this system and they coined these terms, which even today can be very helpful for all of us to make corrupt authorities understand that when you disobey corrupt rules and you voice out, then a lot can happen. You may be found alone, but as Rabindranath Tagore said, that you should walk alone irrespective of you have people behind you or not. Sooner or later, people will come to know what you fought for and what benefit the countrymen got. Jawaharlal Nehru and Motilal Nehru during this decade renunciated the Western clothes and they adopted Gandhi topi and khadi, because they were believing, or they believed, or they wanted to make the countrymen believe that whatsoever makes the Britishers proud of ruling our country, those things can be renunciated. Today you can see that I am wearing a Indian cloth which I am very proud of. It is made up of cotton of our own country. So this was Swadeshi Andolan, in which the indigenous goods were respected, and anything for which the Britishers used to feel proud of and they used to commercialize, those were renunciated. In the year 1920, non-cooperation movement was again started. Non-cooperation movement was the movement in which whatsoever unruly or irrational rules will be imposed, the countrymen would not cooperate with that. So that was the philosophy or the baseline of the non-cooperation movement. At that time, since Britishers were the rulers, so their rules were the discipline to be followed. And at that time, since this rule of obeying the Black Act, the Rowlatt Act, the Salt Act, all these acts were disobeyed, that is why Jawaharlal Nehru was arrested. But he was again relieved, because rationale, that means proper logic, cannot be denied. Sooner or later it has to be accepted, howsoever powerful someone is or the ruling power is. So if you are rational, if your walk, talk and conduct has logic, then it has to be understood sooner or later. But it has to be done in a very civilized manner to a large extent. Many a times the civil methods does not work. At that time, the extremist group of our country also supported, because when civil methods does not work, at that time extreme methods do work, because the opposition has to be strong to fight against corruption. Jawaharlal Nehru was considered to be the head of the political party at that time named as Congress, and he also helped Mahatma Gandhi in his Quit India movement which he initiated. In Quit India movement, it was dreamt of having Purna Swaraj. That means the country will be completely free of any rules. There will be no dominion status. There will be no half rule of the British and the half rule of the countrymen. Because moment the administrative power is not decentralized and is not owned by the own countrymen, there starts influences and corruptions. At that time there were many Indians, those who were the servants in the British East India Company and in the British government at that time. So how can that be possible? That if we get dominion status, that means partial independence, we will have the true independence then? At that time, the term which was coined was Purna Swaraj. So, in the Purna Swaraj, the countrymen demanded by the mouth of the leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi that the country should be completely free and there should be one prime minister of the country. Gandhiji agreed for Jawaharlal Nehru to become the prime minister of the country, and he became so. Jawaharlal Nehru, during his tenure in jail, wrote many different books like Discovery of India, World History, and his own biography. All right, and then he used to write letter to his daughter Indira Gandhi, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. He used to write letters to her, and those letters are also read in our Indian curriculum. So on 26th January in the same decade, first time the Indian flag was hoisted near the Ravi river by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru started the concept of peace and solidarity. Peace means there should be world peace, there should not be any war, and solidarity. People of the world should be together for good reason, not for any corrupt reason, not for any business, not for money making, not for poaching, not for looting any country, but there should be proper solidarity, proper international relations between the countries. So all these modern methods of international governance were pronounced by Jawaharlal Nehru, and that is why he is known to be one of the builders of modern India what we have today. Since we are in the age of social media and electronic media, there are various other informations which you get about Jawaharlal Nehru which may contradict my big words which I am using for him. But believe you me children, your system as a child and your environment as a child is different. But when it comes to the position of a leader has to deal with good and the bad and even the worst. At that time, a leader has to have multifaceted nature. Every coin has two sides, but leaders have various layers of these two sides. They are just like a polygonal dice, and they have various methods to confront and to work upon various situations. So, as a child or as a children or as children, wherever whatever you are, you should have a different outlook towards his leadership. Moment you reach somewhere near to his level, then you may think of analyzing his leadership qualities. As of now, on Children's Day, I request you all to read his biography, the books written by him, Discovery of India and World History, wherein you will come to know that the freedom which we have got today is not so easy, and hence the fervor of independence and the importance of democracy, the importance of personal rights, the importance of human rights, the importance of fundamental rights that should be realized, and we should not allow anyone to play with that at all. Have faith in the government of India, have faith in the Constitution of India, and if anything goes wrong, never be afraid to voice out. This is my message on Children's Day for the children. Have a great Diwali, and also take lesson from the story of Rama and Ravana. Today, Diwali is celebrated because Rama won the war or the battle against Ravana, and it is considered to be an eventual symbolic incidence in the mythology of India, that today the goodness had won against the bad. So that is why we celebrate Diwali. So today, on Children's Day, I give lots of love to you all, and I urge that do read the biography of these big leaders, because very soon in the walks of life, out of the confined wall of the safe school and colleges, you will find that the real life will be much different. You will need to apply political strategies and strategic politics too. So, the methods applied by these great leaders and the struggle faced by them will motivate you always to stand alone and to stand straight and erect, whatsoever the condition may be. Jai Hind. Happy Children's Day. Happy Diwali once again.